It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I remember vividly I was talking to friends of mine and telling them what happened to me, and it became like a joke because they laughed. And I was like, from now I'm never going to tell anybody what happened to me.
I just felt like this was all my fault. I had agreed to date him, and who was I going to tell? Who was going to believe that something like this had actually happened to me? Who was going to believe I was sexually assaulted? Because people would just say, but you were not raped, so you are fine. But I wasn't.
He damaged my life. He damaged me physically, but I survived.
It felt like this whole sexual assault just ruined my whole life.
My name is Boyiswa Angelina Nsadu. I'm 46 years old. I'm a mother of 4. I'm an HIV counselor, and I'm also a rape survivor.
My name is Fumana Nhlonhlo. I'm 37 years old. I'm a rape survivor. I'm also a matronist.
I'm 49 years old. I am a rape survivor.
My name is Chipo Wacha. I'm 23, and I'm a rape survivor. My trauma happened in 2013. I was sexually assaulted. This guy, my father's friend, actually had nowhere to stay. So my dad said he could come and stay in one of the rooms in our apartment. So after a while, my dad's friend was staying there. Then his nephew came to visit. I'm from Zimbabwe, so his nephew came from Zimbabwe, and he came to visit. He was there for a while, and he asked me out. And for the time that he was there on holiday, I said, okay, fine, we could date. But I wasn't involved with him sexually. It was just, I don't know, childish dating, I suppose. And he went back to Zimbabwe. He came back again in 2013. And because we had broken up after he left, and he insisted that we had to get back together. But sometimes I would be at home alone, or maybe before I go to school, because I would attend the afternoon classes sometimes, and he would be there. And every time he saw me, he would try and have sex with me. We would fight. I would try and fight him off, or I would lock myself in the bathroom until he left me alone, or until he left the house. Then I would come out and shower. Or he would actually try and get into the bathroom with me, try and lock the doors. And this happened a lot. So I was sexually assaulted over a long period of time on different occasions. Until one day, I was starting work in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. I was at home alone again, so I was in the kitchen doing the dishes. He just came out, and then he came to me, started to try and take my clothes off. And we were fighting the whole time. He dragged me through the passage into his room, and he locked the door. And we fought, and on that occasion, he almost penetrated. I managed to fight him off, and then I left and I took a shower, I went to work. I got to work, and then I couldn't do anything at all. I was just shaking. Then my friend saw me because she was sitting next to me. I went to the bathroom, and I just broke down, and I couldn't do anything at all. I just felt like this was all my fault. I had agreed to date him, and who was I going to tell? Who was going to believe that something like this had actually happened to me? Who was going to believe I was sexually assaulted? Because people would just say, but you were not raped, so you are fine. But I wasn't, and I couldn't tell anyone what had happened. But my friend took me, and we went to the police station, actually. And that's when I reported my case. I didn't even know that I could, but that's when I reported my case, and he was arrested. Then I started counseling with rape crisis, and for a while I thought, you know what, I'm fine, I'm okay, I can do this. And after the court case, I thought, okay, I can go on with my life. This is done. This part of me is done. This part of my journey, it's finished. And then my counseling sessions with rape crisis were done as well. Then my boyfriend at the time, he broke up with me soon after the court case. And then that got me thinking. I got depressed and I just thought it's my fault. I felt dirty. I felt unwanted because of what I had gone through. I felt like I did not deserve to have a relationship, and I felt like everyone was blaming me, even though they would say we understand, but they didn't truly understand what was going on. So for a while, that's what I was just going through, and I was just got to a point where I didn't want to do anything anymore. I would just sit. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to go to work. I just didn't want to wake up anymore. And I was even suicidal, but I thought it was just fine until I realized I was actually depressed and I needed to deal with my emotions and I had to accept that this had happened to me. It's not something I can just forget and put at the back of my mind. It's part of who I am, part of what I went through, part of what I had to deal with and what I had to survive. My friend was the first to know, and one of the supervisors at work, because they had to let me leave. I was just uncontrollable. I was crying. I just couldn't. And then I didn't know how to tell my parents. I had no idea how I was going to go about it. But then because the guy was at home and the police had to go and get him, my mother was there when they got home. And the police had to explain what had happened because I just couldn't. Then we all went to the police station. My dad came after because he was still at work. And I think the hardest thing I had to deal with and the thing that made me not want to talk about it was my father took me aside and he said to me, "Are you sure you didn't do anything to provoke him?" That was it was the most difficult, and I just didn't know how to react after that. I didn't know what to say or who to tell, because now I'm just thinking everyone is going to be asking me this question: what did she do? Is it because she wears short shorts? Maybe it's because she dresses like that, or she walks a certain way, or is too friendly. And I actually started believing that as well. So it was very hard to talk about it and to know who exactly to talk about it to until I came to rape crisis. But the thing is, mostly in African families, these things are not discussed. We don't talk about them. I never had a conversation with my parents or even my little brother. He knows what happened, but he has never asked me about it. My parents have never asked how I am, how I'm feeling, how I dealt with everything. Even when I got depressed, I felt I couldn't even show it. I would just be this happy person when I got home from work because I had to shield myself, I think, in a way, from whatever was going to be said. But I think this is something that should be talked about, that should be discussed, because when you go through something like this and you want someone to talk to, your family is who you turn to. But yes, as I said, there's this whole cultural thing where you do not talk about it. It has happened, you're dealing with it, but you do not bring it up. It stays there. It's very important to forgive, because that's when the healing starts. Because it doesn't start when you're going for counseling, but when you forgive, when you let go, and you say, you know what, I'm going to forgive you, and like it's not for you, it's for me, so I can move on. I met this guy. There was a concert in 2015, and I was there, and I had sort of he was at the back of my mind. I wasn't thinking about it. It was all about, okay, this night I'm going out with my girls. And then I saw him. Before, I was thinking, the next time that I see him, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to punch him or... But there he was in front of me and I couldn't. I had absolutely no reaction in terms of anger, or I looked at him and I was just sad. Not for me, but for him. I was just sad because I was thinking, okay. And a part of me actually felt sorry for him because he was sentenced and he had to deal with that. And I was just thinking, shame. Okay. But I think I forgave him a long time ago, before I even knew that I was supposed to forgive him, or I just knew that I couldn't let him take over. I couldn't let the anger take over, or I was more concerned with me and what was going on around me to care about him. So he just became part of this story, but not the big picture. He wasn't.
Sure.
This was all me and what I was dealing with, and he's around in Cape Town, and that night he actually came to me and said hi, and I greeted him back because I felt no resentment towards him, because I thought, you know what, I'm above all that. And now all I want is for someone out there, because I feel there are so many young girls who are in that same position but have no one to talk to, have no one to tell, because no one has ever told them that you can go and report sexual assault. It's something that's real. It's something that happens and that affects you in life, but no one has ever told them that. So I'm hoping my speaking out will reach someone out there and they know that they can get help, and there are people out there who've gone through the same thing and they have survived. My dream is to be someone's inspiration, and for someone to just look up to me and say, you know what, your story changed my life.